Right, so Aisha Ibrahim has finally joined me, and for the next 18 minutes, we're going to be bringing you Journey's Interactive. Welcome once again, Aisha.
Thank you, Israel, and I can't wait to see the video. Very, very interesting video, and I just thought about it for a second, and I'm like, wow. So, Ghana, India, we're just, yeah.
What you saw in our parliament.
Child's play.
Yeah, child's play.
Yeah, all right. So, you know how to join the conversation.
Comedies.
Comedies. Okay, you know how to join the conversation. It's on facebook.com/Joy News on TV, and on Twitter it's on Joy News on TV. Just get a cold juice. Let's have a sweet conversation. The NDC has been lambasting the NPP government, accusing it of destroying the better Ghana inherited from the NDC. Chairman of the party, Kofi Potofi, today described, among other things, the lawlessness being perpetrated by the Delta Force as signs of bad governance by the NPP administration. Question: do you think the NDC have genuine concerns, or you feel this is just one of their tricks to score political points?
I don't know where the case of the disappointed us came in. This is where we will have to ask, what did they say they were going to speak about? Being a political party, yes, they may talk about their internal news or happenings, but also, since they are a political party in Ghana, they will also speak about Ghana. So naturally, I think, yes, they were justified in speaking about the issues they were speaking about. And the question comes as to whether what they were saying was true. If what they talked about were true, then I feel, yes, they have every right to speak about it, because there are freedoms in the Constitution which allows them to speak about issues. Yes.
But one will also play the devil's advocate and say that after the bitter or painful loss by the NDC, at least they'll be fair to their party faithfuls. They'll also be fair to Ghanaians, especially faithfuls of the NDC, to come out and tell us clearly why they lost, because definitely there was a committee that was set to investigate into these matters. We've had, the founding father of the NDC, Rawlings, coming out, in a speech, a very famous speech, and also lambasting some of the party, members of not working well, leading to their painful loss. And so I want to say that let's just clean our, for want of a better word, mess domestically before we come out to actually start to do a good, more of like cross-check on or supervision on the current government.
I think they had a genuine points, one, and also it was a matter of scoring political points because they are in opposition, and as opposition party they have to talk about issues concerning the country to mount pressure on the incumbent government so that they will talk about the shortfalls of the government to punch holes in whatever they do, so that they will also score points, so that in 2020, when there is election, they can also make some one or two things to win the elections.
So as youth, I think one of the things we shouldn't really subscribe to is politics of cynicism or vilification. One would say that the NPP is not justified to say that we just came to power. Neither is the NDC also justified to start throwing stones at them now. I think what we should be looking at, so it tells you that if only what you are saying is the truth. But I want to distance myself from all these things by saying that I think we should focus on the issues that are happening, issues that will bring a lot of comfort to the ordinary Ghanaians. And so it shouldn't necessarily be about political points. Of course, these are political parties, but first of all, you owe it to your country, you owe it to God to, harness the potentials and livelihood of Ghanaians.
Okay, so... All right, interesting comments from the streets of Accra. We'll be bringing you Facebook comments shortly, but let's look at the police. All right, so I'm told Facebook is coming. A lot more messages coming on that platform. Israel will help us read them.
All right, so we'll do that immediately. David is able to set this nicely on the screen so everybody else can read along. Okay, so Emmanuel K. says, who's speaking? Kofi Potofi, what a laugh. Is it the same Potofi who is on record as forcefully taking over NADMO in 2009? The same national chairman who, together with other executives, pocketed campaign money and kept on deceiving Mahama? And there's more there, but right, let's move on to the next one. Dangote Mutala says, Potofi and the NDC You've got nothing to say to the Ghanaian people. I watched it while he was making his silly submissions on TV. All that man is saying is a sham. Has he forgotten so soon that he was caught with 2 AK-47 at the by-election? The NDC and Portofie are just suffering from opposition frustration. Portofie is one clueless crony. And Anaman says, is that so? The only good thing I remember is a scrap of the cost of living allowance and replacing it with 15% salary increment. Please, my opinion though, but the activities of the vigilante group must be looked at. It might graduate to terrorism. God save Ghana. Adora Mystical says, look who's speaking now. I'm not in any way condoning the actions of these hooligans called Delta Force and Co., but the actions and inactions of the NDC-led administration are still fresh on our minds. I don't want to be too pontifical, so I rest my case.
Prince Nuruddin Balmia says this is pure propaganda and an obvious prank mischief seeking to tarnish the reputation of the new government led by President Akufo-Addo. If the chairman of the opposition NDC, Kofi Portofie, forgets what happened at Talensi following the by-elections, Ghanaians will be in a better position to remind him. We all condemn the thuggery by the so-called Delta forces, but the matter shouldn't be partisan-based. Issa Abdulaziz says, Ghana surely has become a banana state. Okay. All right, so Muntie 3 and Delta Force 13 is just clear indication that President Nana Addo is a failure and worse things are yet to befall Ghana. So where's Muntie 3 coming in here? That was under the NDC administration. Kwesi Boateng says NDC was incompetent whilst in government and still exhibiting traits of incompetence in opposition. They should mention some of the good things that the NPP inherited that have been eroded. If they care to know, the city is climbing up at a supersonic rocket speed. Trainee allowance restored and many others. Those are some comments on Facebook. Well, also police has confirmed 1 dead in Tuesday's clash between Kokombes and Dagombes at the Agbogbloshie market. There have been different accounts as to what drove the violence, but there are reports that a mobile phone theft sparked the clash. Well, there are suggestions also that there are some political connotations to this violence. What I want to know from you is what you make of this situation and whether you agree that some politicians may be behind some of these clashes.
For me, I don't think so. I don't think there's any political connotation to this issue. I think that's a normal thing. That happens like sometimes, okay. But I think people can actually associate it to politics, depending on how our leaders or the security service handles it. You see, immediately where they actually try to be biased in the way and manner they handle the issue, that is where people might think, oh, this is politically associated. But I think if they are able to handle it and handle it well, then I don't think anyone, and fine, I mean, for Ghanaians are too loud. Sometimes they have to say things and finding something to say, they will say, okay, that is the NPP people or the NDC people doing it. But all the same, I think the real thing boils down to how they handle the issue.
I don't really think so, because nowadays, everything happened. So we actually have this perception that it's actually the political parties is affiliated to the political parties, sort of stuff. But me personally, I don't think so. But we just have to just face the fact and know that it's something that happens most of the times. You know, people, confusion and how stuff, it happens everywhere. So if there's something like that, we shouldn't just have this perception that it actually has to do with the political parties.
Yes, I think it does, because for all you may know, there are other big guys in politics, like let's say this political big men, probably members of parliament or anything, any of them who actually instigated it. They are probably underground pushing these guys to actually do something violent. But at the end of the day, probably they use other reasons to cover the reason why the actual violence happened. And so I think that there is a political connotation.
I don't think it should be tagged with any political issues. Maybe that's something that we like doing. that any issue, we going court way to tackle the issue. We don't really deal with that, but rather like to target with a political party and then create noise out of it and rather lead it to another problem without we fishing out the main problem attached to it.
All right, interesting comments too. But that's not it. A lot more are on Facebook. Let's check it out, Israel.
Adora Mystical says no, but if some people think it's so, they should tell us the party affiliations of these two tribes. In fact, tribalism is gradually creeping into the society, so much that our youth in second cycle are not left out. A similar tribal clash nearly happened in a school where I teach. Courage Livingston says, it is pathetic to hear our police service talk, because whenever they talk, you would notice they are always reactive towards these things instead of picking intelligence earlier to prevent such conflict. IGP must up his game. Judicious Drew Eric says, nah, I don't see any political connotation in this, unlike Delta Force attack. We need to trace from their ethnic background and find the solution to the conflict than politicizing everything, because the conflict between these two parties was there before politics invaded.
Priest Nuruddin Baumia says the authorities must be proactive and find a panacea to this protracted issue that existed before the new government took over. Our northern brothers should try to smoke up the peace pipe and let peace prevail. Nanaba Alokoti Bismarck says, why do we always attribute whatever happens in this country to politics? People are there killing themselves because of mobile phone theft, and you say this is politics? Oh, NDC, why do you engage yourselves into cheap politics always? Instead of you people commenting on the good works of the MPP, it's only propaganda you do best. I wonder if this NDC party has a vision. Well, it's we don't know whether the people who are saying this are NDC or NPP, but we know that a cross-section believe that it has some political connotations. And finally, if you have lived in Accra or any of the big towns or cities in Ghana, then you may have a fair idea of the Trotro Palaver I'm about to tell you. Remember the preacher who rises immediately the Trotro moves? He's usually at the front row, right in front of the bus conductor. Well, there are a lot of them preaching the word of God to us, but most of the time without their intention. Sometimes we give them money when we are touched by their preaching, but some of these people get angry when they're not giving money afterwards. Well, not all of them though, and because of that, some people have concluded that these preachers are not in for evangelism, but rather for money. Well, I need you to share your experiences with some of these preacher men, and also if you share in the view that some of them are in for money and not to win souls.
In my experience is that first time I sat in a church and there was a man preaching, I really felt it because what he was saying was very good. But I keep hearing that anytime they finish preaching, they take money, whether you like it or not. They must take money. So I wanted to see that, but it never happened that day. So I was like, really, it's a rumor. But the next three, or the second and the third time it happens, and after the man finished preaching, he just brought out a poly bag. I was like, really? What's going on? So and he started asking for money, and the way they will ask for the money to, like, you'll feel some kind of sympathy for them, because they'll be telling you that they want to use it for like some microphones, speakers and things. So I think for me, some really come to tell the message, and some come for the money. From my experience, that's what I know.
Really down, and this man came, and I wouldn't say he was making noise, but then he was disturbing me. And I was like, oh, even though it's a commercial vehicle, he shouldn't be doing this because it's not cool. I really wanted to rest, like have peace of mind. So I think even though it's a commercial vehicle, they shouldn't do that. Some of them do it for money, but some don't. Yeah, some really want to preach the word of God, but some also do it for money. Yeah, just maybe probably when I come in this bus and I preach, I'll get this, like someone, and even some people, when you don't even pay, yes, they get pissed and they look at you with this eye, like you're not a Christian or something.
And some of them, immediately they start, it's on there, it's just money they want. But some people, you know, according to the way they start, you know, some of them start with prayers, and then, you know, they really preach the word. But some people, they just come into the church and then they don't even know what they are saying. So so that means they're just looking for money. But some people too, they really preach and then it will really touch you. So you just
interesting comments on the street, but I want to believe that these people are there to win souls and not for money. That's what I believe. Whatever you believe in, it's your opinion, but let's check out